Good morning. Happy New Year. First show of the new year. Chris Duel show. 6:08 in the morning on January 3rd as we start this one. Lots going on in the National Football League. James Rippey, I see you've already been in here posting. Welcome. Shannon is not back until tomorrow. I had that wrong all last week, apparently. So she'll be back tomorrow. I sent her a rundown of the show last night. She texted me back, said, I'm not coming back till tomorrow. Joe Garcia, good morning. Lots to talk about. College football playoffs. Some passings in the NFL, in basketball, in life. Luisa Alanis, John Williams, good morning. So, yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover. Not all of it good. In fact, a lot of it not good. Cowboys, Antonio Brown. The passing of Dan Reeves, former Cowboy. Michael Gallup, torn ACL. Anthony Del Toro, good morning. Here we go. That ain't the show. There's our show not starting. Look at Jeremy.
Back late games and stuff like that. But a lot of times
there's Jeremy trying to get us on the air. There we go. Very nice. Woo! Wes Perkins, good morning. Shannon back tomorrow, Hector.
Now, Chris Duel.
Well. I wanted to come in here full of optimism and hope for the year 2022. There it is. We are finally on the air. Wow, what a great start to 2022. All kinds of fun technical issues going on, but here we are on the air at last. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show. Shannon Salty Sweeney back tomorrow on the show. Apparently, I had my information incorrect. As I was saying last week, she'd be back on Monday. Nope. I sent out a rundown yesterday. Hey, Shannon, here's what's on the show Monday. She wrote, well, I won't be. She'll be back tomorrow. She had an extra day of vacation. I can't believe Jeremy Kolak is in here because he was at AT&T Stadium yesterday to witness the debacle, to witness the crushing of all of our Super Bowl hopes. If you're a Cowboys fan and you're still optimistic, God love you. Isn't that adorable? Watching the way the Cowboys performed yesterday, realizing now they are who we thought they were, same as it ever was. I don't have a lot of optimism for the Cowboys in the playoffs. Prove me wrong, Dallas Cowboys. I would love it. I'm a Cowboys fan, but we've been down this road before. And while the Cowboys were hot in December, apparently they're not in January based on yesterday's lackluster performance and loss to the Arizona Cardinals, which, oh, by the way, they lose Michael Gallup for the rest of the season at wide receiver with a torn ACL. Jeremy Kolak, welcome in. First of all, Happy New Year to you and to everybody else listening or watching this morning as we have the live video feed. How are you doing this morning? How much sleep did you get? And why in God's name are you here the day after a trip to Dallas?
Well, good morning, Chris. Happy New Year to you as well and everyone listening this morning. I flew back last night and the flight got delayed because
Oh,
that's just how that was gonna happen,
yeah.
right?
What airline?
Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually good. Usually
Yeah,
very
no,
good.
so I'm gonna assume it wasn't their fault. I know
Yeah.
there's weather going on. And I would say probably got a good hour and 45 minutes, like, just under 2 hours.
Oh my
Just
God.
no, I
That's so
mean,
brutal.
at least on the plane, I don't have to fly the plane,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
I could I was relaxing a little bit on the plane. I was chilling out. And, Chris, this really wouldn't have been that not that this is a bad morning, this feels like a good morning, but it wouldn't have been so hard to be in here this morning had the Cowboys played the way we had watched them play most of the season,
Yeah.
or, if they could have just even won that game after everything that happened, if they could have pulled out a win, it would have been a lot easier to talk about this morning, probably.
Yeah, so many things did not look good yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals. So many things went bad offensively, defensively, on special teams for the Dallas Cowboys. Most catastrophically, losing wide receiver Michael Gallup to a torn ACL. That Arizona Cardinals team was without a lot of key players that will be there 2 weeks from now when the playoffs open. And oh, by the way, Jeremy Kolak, I'm sure you know this as a Cowboys fan because you were there yesterday at AT&T Stadium. It is most likely that the Cowboys' first round opponent will be those Arizona Cardinals. Only one thing has to happen for the Los Angeles Rams to win the NFC West, and that's they beat the 49ers. Two things have to happen for the Arizona Cardinals to win the West. The Rams have to lose, and the Cardinals have to win next week. That would send the Rams in all probability, to AT&T Stadium. On a certain level, Jeremy, after watching how the Cowboys performed against an Arizona Cardinals team that will have better players and more healthy players in the lineup in 2 weeks, if that is the first round playoff matchup for the Cowboys, and the Cowboys won't have Michael Gallup, that is daunting. That is frightening for me. But perhaps this is at least in a matchup against this same team, perhaps in the playoffs in your house at AT&T Stadium, where apparently Kyler Murray, the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, never loses in high school, in college, or as a professional. Maybe it's a wake-up call for these Dallas Cowboys. I can only hope so.
Yeah, speaking of Kyler Murray, if he wasn't torching the Cowboys, wouldn't he be so fun to watch? Like, just
Yeah.
a pleasure to watch the way that he was the difference yesterday, to be honest. He was the difference in the game, but he is incredible at what he's able the way he's able to dodge, defensive rushers and the way he extends play. Like, I wish I could just watch him run continuously. It's something about the way he runs, the way he scurries, and obviously it's worked for him because he, at any given time, is probably the fastest player on the field at, give or take 1 or 2. But at any given time, he could be the fastest player on the field, offense or defense. And, I was sitting in the car last night and I was just sitting there thinking, it's not like he played terrible, but I am out of excuses for Dak.
Yeah,
I love Dak. That's my guy.
I do too.
I'm Mister. Hey, don't talk crap about Dak. That's not allowed
Yeah.
normally. But what can you say about him after what we watched last night? Because he wasn't the better quarterback.
And it's been this way this season. I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride. Yeah, he was great last week against the Washington football team. And oh, by the way, you were at the game yesterday, Jeremy. Television put up a graphic of this Cowboys win streak and the quarterbacks they faced. Tyler Heineke, Jake Fromm. I mean, the bottom of the barrel of NFL quarterbacks were the teams that the Cowboys feasted upon on that 4-game win streak. One little rule of thumb in the NFL, most Sundays it plays out. The team with the better quarterback wins the football game. And yesterday, and maybe overall, but yesterday the quarterback was Kyler Murray. So the team with the better quarterback is going to win the darn game, sadly. In the playoffs now, and oh, by the way, the Cowboys are at the Eagles next week. Eagles won yesterday over Washington. Eagles will now go to the playoffs. I think there's probably a scenario where it could be the Eagles and the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs. We'll talk about that. But sadly, Jeremy, now, and this goes for this Dallas Cowboys defense as well. This Dallas Cowboys defense feasted on bad quarterbacks twice against Washington, once against the Saints, and then once against the Giants, and to win those 4 games. And I'm starting to wonder now, and I'm starting to believe now, because the Cowboys had those three losses in 4 games. They lost to the Broncos. They beat the Falcons big. Ooh. They lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to the Raiders. Then the Cowboys went on a 4-game win streak, and we all started to feel good about them and ourselves. They won at the Saints. Taysom Hill was the quarterback. They won at Washington, barely. Washington came roaring back. What's his name? Taylor Heineke, whatever the Washington's quarterback name is. At the Giants, it was Mike Glennon and Eric Fromm at quarterback. Then it was Washington last week. I think that was fool's gold, sadly. You lose to the Cardinals. Granted, the final score looked closer than it was, 25-22. They were down by 8 or more and often double digits throughout that game. This game it looks like the Cowboys are entrenched in the 4th spot in the NFC, which means a home game. But then if you win that home game, Jeremy, guess what? Unless one plays 4, because I was going to say unless one lost in round 1, but one won't lose in round 1. And the first round bye now officially goes to the Green Bay Packers. So if you can beat your first round opponent, quite possibly the Arizona Cardinals in the first round, you will earn a ticket to Lambeau Field, the team with the best record in the NFC, the Green Bay Packers, in round 2. Now, if you're an optimist, you can say, well, we would have had to play them anyway. A lot of great coaches. I've heard Greg Popovich say this about the playoffs. Even when the Spurs had the big 3, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and they draw the LA Lakers in the first round, Pop would say, well, you got to play them sooner or later. You may as well play them now. That could be the attitude if the Cowboys win in the first round of the playoffs at home. Your gift will be Lambeau Field and Green Bay. And then if you could win that one, good luck with that against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. But if you could win that one, you might even get a home game in the NFC Championship game if a wild card team won the other divisional game. Jeremy, I just must be honest, and I'm not happy about this at all, that we come in here on the first show of 2022 and I do not feel optimism about the Dallas Cowboys. I felt so good in December. I thought we were going to be optimistic about them heading into the playoffs, but if I'm going to be objective, I just can't be optimistic about this team right now.
No, I think it was a fitting tribute to John Madden how Mike McCarthy put on display that because of John Madden, because of the video game, pretty much any 13-year-old across America could have managed the game clock better than Mike McCarthy did, or at least managed his timeouts better. And I thought that was an ironic tribute to John Madden. Thank you, Mike McCarthy. But there's so, like you said, there's so many little things that maybe we felt good about before, or that we didn't even think was a problem before, that seems to have been a problem last night. And like you mentioned earlier, the fool's gold about how the Cowboys have their big wins seem to have come against quarterbacks that either weren't starters at the start of the season or they maybe shouldn't be starters. And it's almost like the defense got a little bit exposed last night. And if they don't win that turnover battle, it's like that's their way to win. If they don't win the turnover battle, then they're not going to win, is what it seems like after last night.
And good here, and that's the problem in the playoffs, Jeremy. Good quarterbacks aren't going to turn the ball over as much as the 4 quarterbacks they faced in the 4-game win streak. Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau isn't going to turn the ball over. Kyler Murray, as mercurial as he isn't going to turn the ball over. If you get past Green Bay, waiting for you is going to probably be either Tom Brady and the Buccaneers or the LA Rams. And Matthew Stafford, who does turn the ball over. So maybe you do get lucky and draw the Rams at some point, although I think the Rams are formidable. It is a wake-up call for the Dallas Cowboys. It is a slap in the face for the Dallas Cowboys, and it's worse than that because losing Michael Gallup from that receiver core, and I know there's a lot of great receivers still on that Dallas Cowboys depth chart. I get it, but you want to be at full strength going into the playoffs, and Michael Gallup is probably the 3rd best wide receiver on that team behind CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. Cedric Wilson has really emerged. He had some great catches yesterday, but you sit your 3rd best receiver in what is essentially a 4-man receiving core. I'm not talking about the tight ends, including Dalton Schultz. I'm talking about just the wide receivers. Your 4 receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. It was Michael Gallup until he tore the ACL yesterday, and Cedric Wilson. And Michael Gallup would be the number 1 wide receiver on probably half the teams in the National Football League this year. It's just that the Cowboys are so darn good at wide receiver. All right, we'll talk more Cowboys because we have to. We'll talk about everything else in the NFL. The meltdown of Antonio Brown. What do we make of this? What is going on with Antonio Brown? I think most of us, if you examine that behavior, I think most of us will come to the conclusion something's not right in the head of Antonio Brown. And I fear, given all we've learned about CTE over the years, I think there's something seriously wrong with Antonio Brown. We'll get into that. We lost a couple more sports legends over the weekend. Jeremy brought up John Madden. I finally saw the documentary in its entirety over the weekend. Oh my God. It's better than I thought it would be. We'll talk about that. Your phone calls along the way, if you would like to join us on the show as well. 800-707-9760. Live video feed available at AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760's Twitter and Facebook pages. Lots coming at you. Don't go anywhere. With you till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Yeah, you say selfish clown, Marcus, and you're probably accurate on Antonio Brown. I think he's got serious mental issues, and I think they may be CTE related.
79, Larry Keenan dominated the game as the Spurs routed the New Orleans Jazz 123-97 at Hemisphere Arena. Keenan scored 35 points and hauled in 17 rebounds in the win. Thanks to his season averages of 22 points and 10 rebounds, Keenan was named to the All-Star squad that season. He also shot 50% from the floor and 85% from the line. That team at 78-79 was coached by Doug Moe. That's today's Spurs Flashback. I'm Bill Schoening.
Becky Hammond on being the first woman to coach in the NBA.
What if it's no big deal that I'm a woman? What if it's about striving for excellence and being the best me without the label?
It's not about where others say you should be. It's about where you want to go. It's about a financial services company.
Yeah, OM Garcia, they're still my team too, and they've been my team since I was a child, and they've pretty much been mediocre and disappointing since 1996 when they won their last Super Bowl, and this is what they do. They underachieve, they disappoint, they get our hopes up, and then they tear our hearts out. I don't think anybody reasonable can have looked at that game yesterday and be confident about the playoffs. Sadly. And I mean, Green Bay, they are consistent. The one thing the Cowboys have not been all year, unless you want to count the 4-game win streak against crappy teams and crappy quarterbacks, the Cowboys are not consistent. All right, I'm going to heat my coffee, and then I'll be back. Carlos Bam Gonzalez, welcome in. I'll check your comments here in just a sec.
Get more weather throughout the day on News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies. Dell Technologies' New Year event helps you save up to 45%. Transform your workspace on high-performance computers featuring Windows 11 Pro with powerful hardware-based security. Call an advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth reports that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now may be the perfect time to buy a home financed by Loan Depot. Loan Depot has over 300 loan products to help you make home ownership a reality. Interest rates are near historic lows. Rates will not stay low forever. So call 866-888-LOAN so one of our thousands of loan officers can help you find the right loan. Call 866-888-LOAN or visit loandepot.com. Loan Depot. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Company vehicles cause serious and deadly accidents on our roadways every year. An accident with a company car, truck, SUV, van, or fleet vehicle is not just another car accident. If you were injured in a company vehicle accident, call Thomas J. Henry. Thomas J. Henry handles serious company vehicle accident cases and gets serious results for injured clients. To learn more or start your claim today, visit tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
America's best high school football players are coming to Texas. It's the All-American Bowl on Saturday, January 8th at the
All right.
San Antonio. Trevor Lawrence, Ezekiel Elliott, and Micah Parsons.
Haas Holding.
For a day of exciting football to see the best of the best at the All-American Bowl, followed by the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game presented by HEB.
Haas, I hope you're feeling better, man. I saw you post on social media. You've been a little under the weather. Steve DiRocco, the original Rock. Yeah. Rams have the 49ers. 49ers are tough. But if that happens, even if that happens, Carlos, then Arizona then moves into the Rams slot, and Arizona would have a head-to-head win over the Cowboys. So the Cowboys are pretty much locked into number 4. Let's see who I see in here. James Rippey, Joe Garcia, John Williams, Luisa Alanis, Anthony Del Toro, Hector Gomez, Wes Perkins, Sam Tobias, Eric Winchester, and let's see, I think I said Anthony Del Toro, Ralph Balderas, Robert Browning. Good morning, Robert, from the land of Japan, where you will ascend Mount Fuji later this year. That's pretty cool. Chris Gonzalez, First coffee run of the year. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, that was actually accurate. Jason Paniagua, buenos dias. Marcus Valdespino, O.M. Garcia, Eloy Tiarina. Very cool, Eloy. I went driving by, I don't live far from the airport. So when I drive to work, I live over by 410 in Nacogdoches. So I hop on 410 and then we go cruising by the airport and I jump on 281 to come by here. So I always swing by the airport every morning on the way to work. Carlos Bam Gonzalez. Yeah, Carlos, I'm assuming that home teams are, the 3 home teams are going to win, but that's a good point. Dan, if the Cowboys lose on Saturday, they're locked into the 4 because they won the division. So, and I think, let me pull the standings up. I think the Eagles may be locked into where they are, which means that game between the Cowboys and the Eagles might not have a lot of okay, here we go. 49ers. Eagles could catch the 49ers, can move ahead of them. All right. Because the Eagles clinched a playoff spot. So, yeah, Niners may lose to the Cardinals, and then the Eagles would move up. So, theoretically, but they're not going to catch the Cardinals. So, that's either going to be Rams. Okay, here we go.
Sweeney. Find Chris and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
Stevie Winwood, Higher Love, an outstanding song, an optimistic song, Chris Duel show, Shannon Salty Sweeney off one more day. She'll be back tomorrow. Jeremy Kolak is your soundscape stylist making the show go. Jeremy, I want to be optimistic. It's the first of the year. We wipe the slate clean. Some of us make New Year's resolutions. Did you make any New Year's resolutions? Well, I think we established last week you're not a big New Year's resolution guy.
No, I'm just trying to be a better person in a variety of ways.
That's a good thing. And that's a smart, healthy attitude. A lot of people, they make all these resolutions at New Year's, and most of them have to do with the vast majority is losing weight. And I can agree. I can relate to that. I need to lose weight. I gained a little too much weight in the fall of 2021. A lot of people want to exercise, which is part of the losing weight thing, get into better shape. And then a lot of people then very quickly fall off the wagon, fall into old habits, and they give up, which you can't do. You shouldn't do. It's not right. That's why every day is a new day. You need to develop better habits, better ways of living, better ways of approaching your life, day in, day out. And there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be good days and bad days, but it is consistency over time. You'll be all right. So that's a healthy way to approach things. In a moment, we'll talk more about Antonio Brown. We'll talk more about the Dallas Cowboys. I do want to be more optimistic in 2022. The Cowboys are making it very, very difficult. There were some sad stories over the weekend, and we'll get into them. We lost one of the greatest Dallas Cowboys, and in Cowboy history, people don't say his name as much as I think they should. Dan Reeves, who was a running back, and actually under Tom Landry, when the Cowboys won Super Bowl VI, Dan Reeves was a player coach. He was so good and had such a great football mind that Tom Landry made him a player coach. So we'll get into that. NBA and Boston Celtics great. Sam Jones passed away over the weekend. We'll talk about him. And Betty White, not a sports figure, but a national figure. Betty White was 99. She would have turned 100 on January 17th. And she passed away as well. So we will talk about all of those things as we roll forward. But right now, let's do the high five play of the day. Every day at this time, we give out a high five or two or five because we should. The high five play of the day is appropriately sponsored by High Five, 2 locations in the Austin area. High Five's got everything you're looking for. Big screen TVs everywhere. They have got, there's that music. They got big screen TVs everywhere. They've got great food, great drinks, food specials, drink specials, games you can play, bowling, laser tag, axe throwing, zombie dodgeball. Want to give a high five to so many people and organizations who yesterday and over the weekend, speaking of people that passed, Jeremy, paid tribute to to John Madden. Of course, John Madden passed away last week. We talked about him. The Las Vegas Raiders had a very cool John Madden. You know, they had like the outline of the Raider logo in black with JM in silver, which was way cool. I tweeted out, I think the Raiders, he was such a part of their history. I think the Raiders should make that permanent. Keep that JM, John Madden tribute on that helmet. You know, I always thought the Dallas Cowboys, when Tom Landry passed away, should have kept a little fedora logo on the Dallas Cowboys helmet forever, because he was such a big part of what they did. Obviously, Jerry Jones and his ego could not allow such a thing. Also noticed, I don't know if you saw this, Jeremy, and you can tell us of any John Madden tributes you saw at AT&T Stadium. You were at the Cowboys game yesterday, but Fox, you know, their little upper right-hand corner, they have a box that usually says NFL on Fox to brand their logo throughout the television broadcast. They had up there, it said Fox, but it was that John Madden logo with the headset that they used for the All Madden documentary, which was cool because he was such a big part of Fox. And again, I think, you know, Jerry West is the NBA logo. I think John Madden maybe should be the NFL on Fox logo. So a big high five to everyone who paid tribute. Oh, and one other thing, and then I'll ask you, Jeremy, what you saw at AT&T Stadium regarding any tributes to John Madden. Troy Aikman brought up on the broadcast, and I like this. Troy Aikman says there's a movement now in the NFL to change the name of the All-Pro team. Whoever makes All-Pro in the NFL, just change that from now on to the All Madden team. I think it's perfect. Obviously, it's not exactly the, you know, players on the All Madden team were like, you know, lunch pail guys, tougher than tough guys, you know, Bill Bates kind of guys, Nate Newton kind of guys. But nonetheless, to name the All-Pro team from here on out the All Madden team, I think would be a fitting tribute to John Madden. So high five to everybody who paid tribute to John Madden across the National Football League yesterday and on the telecast. Jeremy, you notice anything at AT&T Stadium as you were at the Cowboys game yesterday regarding John Madden?
Well, before I even got to the Metroplex, I actually noticed on Saturday I was driving north on 281 here in San Antonio, and I saw, you know, those billboards that they're electronic, so they switch between different billboards and whatnot. And as I was happening to be driving by in that moment, it was I don't even know what company it was. I don't think the company even put themselves on there because they just wanted to leave it for Madden. But it was a big, Madden tribute in San Antonio here, and this was on Saturday afternoon. So I thought that was cool. But then when I got to the game, first of all, Dak was wearing a John Madden T-shirt over his hoodie in warmups.
Cool.
And it was a really cool T-shirt. So you could tell he planned ahead and probably found some artist that makes nice T-shirts. But I thought that was cool. It was like a nice. It was a nice tribute that Dak did. And then before the game started, right before the national anthem, they had a moment of silence they had, first of all, they mentioned Dan Reeves, of course. And they had a moment of silence for Madden, and then everybody just started cheering. And I thought that was cool.
And as I mentioned, Jeremy, finally over the weekend, because Fox replayed it, I missed on Christmas Day the John Madden documentary, All Madden. And Fox replayed it, and when they replayed it, I guess that was Friday night, I DVR'd it. So I didn't see it in real time. Might have been Thursday night. So I DVR'd it. So I watched it on Saturday morning. Did you get a chance to see it yet?
No, I have not gotten the chance.
I got to say a few things. First of all, I give it my highest recommendation. I truly believe this, and I tweeted this out. I think it's the best football documentary I've ever seen, period. It's obviously it's not just about football, but it's football based. But it's about this man, John Madden, who was arguably the greatest or one of the greatest coaches in NFL history based upon, if nothing else, his winning percentage. Nobody's has a better winning percentage. We talked about this, Jeremy, last week. If you've coached over 100 games in the NFL, nobody has a better winning percentage than John Madden. That's insane. Think about that. Think about Bill Belichick, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, George Halas, Bill Walsh. All the great coaches ever who've coached over 100 games, John Madden has a better winning percentage. But the thing that blew me away, Jeremy, and I was watching the end of it on Saturday morning, and my wife, was like doing some chores around the house and walked out of the living room, and I'm kind of thinking I don't want her to walk back in. It was so emotional at the end. And I lost it, man. It got me. I was crying at the end of this thing. Because what's amazing about this thing, we've all been to funerals where people give a eulogy, or people will get up at a funeral and they will talk about what that person meant to them. And you're sitting there at the funeral and you're going, man, A, I wish this person was here to hear it. And B, if you do believe in a life after death, you are certainly believing and or hoping that somewhere, somehow, this person is hearing this and is hearing the impact they had upon so many lives. The way this John Madden documentary is constructed, he's sitting there at this chair in front of this big screen, this kind of this high-tech, multi-screen, big screen. And he's watching people talk about what he meant in their lives and what he meant to the game of football. And he is getting emotional. And he, especially at the end, is realizing things and realizing the impact that he had on so many lives and so many careers and the game of football itself. And the replay at the very end has this graphic at the very end of it that says, John Madden on Christmas Day, 2021, saw this documentary in his home with his friends and family gathered around him, and he passed away 3 days later on December 28th. It's almost magical, Jeremy, in that it's almost like it is this guy's funeral in a sense. And it's almost like it is John Madden's final farewell and his celebration of life. And, you're watching it and you're watching him sit there and listen to all this and react to all this. And sometimes he reacts with tears in his eyes. And you're knowing that whenever this was shot, and I'm assuming it was shot in the fall, maybe it was shot in October, maybe it was shot in early November. We could probably find that out online. You're realizing this guy this is like the end of his life. This is his 85th year. He's going to have a Christmas with his family. He's going to watch this documentary in its entirety, and then he's going to move on. And then he's going to pass away and pass on to the great beyond and whatever is next for him, hopefully in football heaven. Jeremy, as a football fan, and I know we've discussed you're 23 and your frame of reference was, the Madden video game. What's cool, and they've got Lamar Jackson on near the end, and it was his as well. And he's saying, I grew up playing Madden, and I always wanted to be Michael Vick because Michael Vick was my role model. I wanted to be Michael Vick in the Madden games. And there's John Madden watching Lamar Jackson talking about playing the Madden game. It is on so many levels, A, one of the coolest documentaries I've ever seen, and B, I think one of the best, if not the best, football documentaries I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. It's literally on my to-do list. Like, I actually have a list of things that I definitely don't want to forget about, and I wrote that down on it. And I was just I was thinking about, because a lot of people saw the documentary when it first aired, when he was still alive, and
Yeah.
as just a normal person who obviously is not connected to him or the situation, a normal person who would have watched it when it originally aired would have no idea that he was even close to passing away,
Yeah.
let alone that it would happen within the week. So I would wonder, obviously I don't have this experience because I didn't see it before or after, but I would wonder how it would be, the difference in seeing it if, when you were innocent and had no idea
Mhm.
that this was going to happen to him in such a short time frame, as opposed to watching it now like you did for the first time, not seeing any of it until after you know that he died.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, for me, it was almost like being at his memorial service, and you're watching him with a front row seat, and he is reacting to all of these accolades. And again, the biggest thing is just the impact he had on the game of football, the impact he had on lives. He changed lives, the impact he had on broadcasting. And it's just funny. It's hilarious. I mean, he talks about when he early in his broadcasting career, he's got to do an NFL game, and in comes Bob Costas. And Bob Costas, is like tiny. Bob's like 5'5", compared to a big man like John Madden. And secondly, especially, in 1981, Bob Costas looked about 19 years old. So he's going, who's this kid coming into the broadcast booth with me? And then John Madden tells the story. Then Bob Costas started opening his mouth and broadcasting. And as we know, Bob Costas is a prolific broadcaster and communicator. And there's just so many little anecdotes. And again, for people, even if you're not a football fan, and this was one of the virtues and one of the great things about John Madden, and he brought people into the game who are not football fans, but just the story, Jeremy, of him riding the bus because he didn't want to fly. So he got this decked out, pimped out bus, and he went across America, and he would stop in cafes across America, and he loved to eat, and he loved people. So whether it was in Iowa or Wyoming or Pennsylvania or Texas or wherever, the bus would pull in, they'd stop. People go, oh my God, it's John Madden, and Madden's coming in to eat and talk football with people. He was just like, somebody said this week, he was like the Johnny Appleseed of football. He was just going around America, throwing these seeds around and just celebrating the game of football and making sure that people appreciated football as they should. He was and forever will be a national treasure, John Madden. So, all right. So we go from national treasure to national pariah. We have got to talk about, and we will in the next segment, Antonio Brown has a major public meltdown, perhaps his final act in the National Football League, as he disagrees with Coach Bruce Arians, refuses to go into the game, tears off his jersey, starts taking his clothes off, throwing gloves and equipment into the crowd. Antonio Brown, what should we make of this? How should we regard Antonio Brown? And what can we learn from his series of meltdowns and behavior? We will get into that. You want to jump in here with us? You're always welcome. 800-707-9760 is the phone number. We are with you until 9 o'clock this morning. You can join us on the live video feed, Ticket 760, AM 1300, The Zone's Facebook and Twitter pages. He is Jeremy Kolak on No Sleep, back from Dallas, where he saw the Cowboys lose yesterday. I'm Chris. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Leo, very cool about Chewies. Michelle Johnson from Marysville, Kansas, welcome. Lucinda Sullivan, sorry about your Colts yesterday. Jason Paniagua, Jorge. So can you hear me? Somebody posted on the live video feed that currently Ticket 760 over the air and iHeartRadio app is at network, at least during that segment. Just letting you know that. Let me know if you get an update. Yeah, we've had some technical problems this morning in Austin and apparently San Antonio. Who said that? Let me find that. Yeah, Don Finley. He wrote 1200 on iHeart running the network feed. Maybe you mean 750, Don. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I'm noticing he wrote 1200, so maybe.
I don't know how the Acer being down might impact anything specifically with the app, because that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So the app might be definitely running network. I have no idea.
Okay.
It might not be.
We will.
Yeah, I'll continually check to make sure I still have you coming through on my KTKR feed just to make sure.
Okay, we will operate as if everything's normal, even if it's not. Thanks. All right, Tracy Bogart, you gave us like a dissertation here on 15-year-old. Yeah, Stevie Winwood was prolific as a kid in the Spencer Davis group. Yeah, Stevie Winwood was and is very special. I like him a lot. Adrian Cavazos, welcome. Yeah, Travis, the Cowboys have so many problems right now. And imagine how empty this season will feel if the Cowboys are one and done, which they might. Yeah, Marcus, you are correct. At the moment, we're not on in Austin. We've got some problems in Austin this morning. The engineers are working on it. Just a crazy start to 2020, man. Leo, that's a little funny. Brown should show up at the Bucs practice like nothing happened. Oh, man. Yeah, that hurts. Michael Gallup. with the injury. That hurts a lot. I just think, in fact, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna go through and check because there was a graphic yesterday on the quarterbacks that Cowboys beat in that 4-game win streak. And I know that when they played the Giants, so okay, you had the Saints. That was Taysom Hill, right? Let me double check that. Yeah. So let's see. Next game was. Then you had Washington.
Hi, I'm Paul from Progressive. Being a baseball fanatic like me can be stressful. It's not all sports points.
It was Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen.
Instead of thinking about how they missed that goal point score, think about the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, letting you choose coverage options based on your budget, unlike your team that missed the end zone net area.
All right, let me look at the next one. It was the Giants. The point is, and part of it is, that Cowboys defense was feasting on kind of bottom feeder quarterbacks in the NFL. And when let me see, who were the Giants?
Morning at 11 on Ticket 760. Things you don't want. Unsolicited phone calls. Big Bib Barbecue Studios.
Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm, Giants.
The Packers clinching the first seed in the NFC.
Okay.
The Vikings 37-10. Aaron Rodgers had 2 touchdown tosses. The Eagles take down the Washington football team.
So I'm assuming we're back real early on this one based on the clock currently. Is that a yes? Oh, I got you. Okay. 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 Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. Now, the last game against the Washington was it Taylor Heineke the whole time? Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen came in again. All right. Now, let me take a look at quarterbacks who have beaten the Cowboys. My point is, and it's a rule of thumb in the NFL. Typically, not always, it's a trend. Typically, the team with the better quarterback wins in the NFL. So the losses are to the Buccaneers, Tom Brady. You lost to the Broncos. Was that Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, you should have never lost to the Broncos. It was Teddy Bridgewater. So that's an anomaly, and that's a game you should have never lost. You lost to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. They lost to the Raiders, Derek Carr. Is Derek Carr better than Dak? I don't think so, but you lost. And just that line of thinking, as you now head into the playoffs, is troublesome. Michelle Johnson, my son Lane is in Houston to attend the Tax Act Texas Bowl game, Kansas State and LSU. Cool. Let me see here.
22 is the year to raise a new cheer. So come see us at Specs. The fun starts here.
It's UTSA Roadrunner basketball. Follow Steve Henson and new women's coach Karen Aston all winter long with games every week in the Convo. For tickets, times, and special promotions, visit GoUTSA.com or call 458-UTSA. Birds up.
Game presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer-lasting scent.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind and body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated. With dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool.
Tracy Bogert says Dak continually looks like he wants to run, but then doesn't. Yeah, and I wonder, Tracy, like when he fumbled, there's just a little hesitancy. Obviously, he had that catastrophic ankle injury. I think that's affecting him. John Williams, 23 degrees with a wind chill of 16 in Dallas, 28 in San Antonio when I was driving to work this morning. See where we are now.
Getting pulled over for bus driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for bus driving.
Whoa, 25 right now in San Antonio. It was 28. Yeah, there's 25 right now, which is lower. 28 was supposed to be the low, so it's colder than they were expecting. Let me see what we got in Austin. Marfa is checking in at 14. Austin, 27. So we are San Antonio, 2 degrees cooler than Austin. Cancun, sun is up. It's showering and 72. I used to go to Cancun in February, pre-pandemic. Here we come. Santa Cruz, Costa Rica, sun is up at 75. I like Costa Rica. Santa Fe, 16. Roswell, 18. Here we go. Okay, Michelle, you win. It's 8 degrees in Kansas.
Now, Chris Duel.
Happy New Year 2022. I want to be optimistic. I'm going to try real hard. I'm basically optimistic. Just I watched the Cowboys yesterday. I keep saying last night. It felt like it was night because it was dark by the time the game ended. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show. Shannon Salty Sweeney will be back tomorrow as we sift through the ashes of the Dallas Cowboys game. And I can't, one of the things, Jeremy, by the way, Jeremy Kolak, your soundscape stylist. Before I talk to Jeremy, let me just set the table. If you want to join us on the phone lines, you're welcome. 800-707-9760, the phone number. Lots of people joining us on Facebook Live. We have a live video feed where you can react not only to us, but there's always a discussion going on there and some very interesting stuff being posted in real time. You can join the live video feed either via Facebook, Ticket 760, or AM 1300, The Zone's live video feed, Twitter, AM 1300 of the Zone, Ticket 760's Twitter page. I even push it out on my Twitter page at Chris Duel. You can tweet me there at Chris Duel. You can tweet Jeremy at Jeremy Kolak. There is a YouTube way into the live video feed as well. So that's something you can do. But just like that Cowboys game yesterday, Jeremy, and this is, I can't wait till spring. I can't wait till daylight savings time is back in March. And you experienced it firsthand. You walked into that stadium and the sun was out. And by the time we get to the fourth quarter, it's dark and it's getting cold. I just saw from our friend John Williams in Dallas right now. It's 23 degrees with a wind chill of 16. It's currently 25 degrees in San Antonio, 27 in Austin. I could live without the it was like 75 degrees on New Year's Eve. Jeremy, what's going on, man?
I don't know. It made it a little difficult to pack for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people that traveled over the New Year's weekend. But it hit hard. There was no easing into it, Chris.
No.
It just smacked me Saturday night. Just hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I did the Spurs broadcast Saturday night, so I go, because it's Saturday, nobody else is in the radio station. It was warm, so I wore shorts and a t-shirt, do the Spurs broadcast, walk out of the building Saturday night. It's like, ooh, it's a little chilly, and then wow, then the cold front hit overnight. Now, you had told us, Jeremy, you had not been to AT&T Stadium to see a Cowboys game. You had seen college football games. You'd seen high school football games. You'd seen other events at AT&T Stadium. You're a big Dallas Cowboys fan, as you should be, as God intended. What was the experience, other than the Cowboys losing, what was the experience like for you yesterday?
It was pretty fun. It was, I mean, for anyone who's been there, I think you can relate to how it's like, well, even my buddy said this, it's like Disneyland, but for a Cowboys fan. It's the Cowboys Mecca. It just felt like when we're walking into the stadium and just everyone around you is all wearing Cowboys blue and some variation of jersey, and everybody has their Cowboys poofy hat because, like we said, it was very, very, very chilly. And I saw a lot of Cowboys Letterman jackets that probably got brought out for the first time in a long time this weekend. But it's so, I don't know, it feels different than being at another team's stadium. Like, it feels like you're part of something bigger. It feels like feels like America's team. It feels like everything is on a much larger magnitude there, and it's just a bigger event, it feels like. And it was actually kind of funny because I told you I flew home last night from I filmed Dallas to San Antonio back home, and every single person on that plane was at that game.
Nice.
And every person was wearing Cowboys stuff. And then I thought it was unfortunate for the people that went to the game and weren't able to change out of their jerseys and stuff. And just, I mean, you're diehard. I
do the walk of shame through the airport.
I took off a little bit, not all. I still had some Cowboys apparel, but I wasn't decked head to toe when I got on that plane last night. I felt like it was, especially after the way the game went, I needed to shed a little bit of Cowboy blue.
Now, you talk about AT&T Stadium being a Cowboys Mecca and just seeing so much Cowboys attire and fandom as you walk in and out. Notoriously, they say, and it's the case, that it's not a huge home field advantage because it's such a huge stadium. It's so cavernous. And because they're America's team, so many opposing fans travel. I know when Green Bay plays there, it's a lot of Packer fans. When Pittsburgh plays there, it's a lot of Pittsburgh Steeler fans. What was your experience as far as crowd makeup? Did you see a lot of Arizona Cardinal fans? Was there a lot of cheering for Arizona that you heard? What was that like yesterday?
There was some. There wasn't like cheering to where you could notice it, like when the Lakers play the Spurs, which is very unfortunate for the record.
Yes, it is.
But no, nothing like that. And there was Arizona fans, here and there you could see, and they'd like to kind of clump together to build their own little squadron. And I saw
squadron, nice Air Force term. I like that.
I saw some Kyler Murray Allen jerseys. like some Allen High School stuff.
Not what?
And I thought
Whoa.
that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see anybody wear any Cardinals stuff, but when you're wearing, I mean, I think having a Dak Prescott Mississippi State jersey is cool. Now, I would never say that having an OU jersey is cool ever in a million
No,
years.
it's just not cool.
No, but when
It's
you're
uncool.
yes, but when you're wearing Allen jerseys, Kyler Murray
Yeah.
Allen jerseys, the greatest Texas high school football player of all time, that's pretty cool. I thought that was a quality jersey or apparel decision going in.
Well, and see, you talk about Laker fans coming to the AT&T Center to see Spurs games. When I would see Kobe fans wearing that Lower Merion High School jersey, to me, I mean, if you're a bandwagon Laker fan in San Antonio, I disrespect you. If you don't have a tie to LA and you just and I would always walk up to them at the AT&T Center. Hey man, nice Laker jersey. Because I lived in LA for a while, but I don't wear a Laker jersey. I went to USC and lived in LA for 12 years, but I don't wear a Laker jersey. I'm a Spurs fan. So I go, hey man, whoa, cool. LA, did you live there? No. Yeah. Where do you live? San Antonio. You ever go to LA? No. Oh, I'm just a Laker fan. What drives me crazy about that, and it happened when LeBron was with the Miami Heat. I'd see LeBron Miami Heat jerseys. You live in San Antonio, Texas, or somewhere close in South Texas, even Austin. You've got this team in San Antonio. And at the time, that was the height of Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, 6 trips to the NBA Finals, 5 NBA championships, and you're going to choose to be a Laker fan. You have a great team with a great organization, with great human beings, none of them troublemakers other than Kawhi, but I'm going to forgive him on 2/2/2022. And you're choosing to be either a Laker fan or a Miami Heat fan, and I just don't get it. And I think some people out there, this may lead us into the Antonio Brown discussion, I don't know. Some people are out there, and their mission in life is to they want to go against the grain. They want to be cynics. They want if there's a good thing happening over here, they want to poo-poo it. They want to crap on it, or they want to go for the opponents of what is good. So you kind of got me started on that with your Kyler Murray Allen jerseys.
It's a phenomenon that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you did that. But I like you kind of mentioned, over the years we've heard that the Cowboys don't have a home field advantage, or at least a very good one, and we've seen with our own eyes on telecast that other fan bases can infiltrate that building as they have.
Yes.
But I don't know if it was my theory, because that building was packed to the brim last night. It was yesterday and last night, which, like you mentioned, it kind of felt like we got as me being there, it felt like I got a afternoon game and a Sunday night game rolled into one when I was watching the fourth quarter, and the backdrop was darkness.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I was thinking it from that standpoint. I thought it was cool. But so what I was gonna say is that the Cowboys fans were not drowned out at all by any Cardinals red at all.
Good.
Not even a little bit. And that's something I went in not expecting, but like kind of looking out for, just because of what I've heard. Because like you mentioned, the only games I've ever been to at that stadium were college games where you have half and half fan base or some variation. So my theory was that this game was on January 2nd, was that a lot of people got Christmas presents as tickets to this game. A lot of Cowboy fans.
Okay.
And that's why the Cowboys fandom showed out well. I mean, what we didn't do was allow Arizona to infiltrate or be heard, because Arizona fans, they weren't even very loud after the win. You know what I mean? After that final whistle blew.
Well, a big win for Arizona, 25-22. We'll talk more Dallas Cowboys. We will get into the San Antonio Spurs. I do see on the live video feed, Wes Perkins says, bad start to the new sports year. Spurs lose to the Pistons, and the Cowboys lose to Coach Bro. Of course, that being Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, and the Spurs, and we'll get into a little Spurs talk a little bit later. Spurs lose on consecutive nights. They lose on New Year's Eve, and they turn around and play another game the very next night at Detroit that they should have won on so many levels and lost that one. I believe the Spurs have now lost 3 in a row. So the Spurs, who were on a bit of a roll, are hitting a bump in the road, and the Spurs now have COVID issues worse. But as Coach Popovich said before the Spurs game at Detroit, everybody's dealing with it. But Lonnie Walker IV in health and safety protocols, Doug McDermott in health and safety protocols. You had DeJounte Murray coming off of health and safety protocols, but he wasn't ready to play in the Detroit game. He's got to work himself in. We'll get back into Cowboys, Spurs talk and more, and the overall NFL picture. But, Jeremy, I do want to talk about Antonio Brown and what happened in New York at MetLife Stadium, actually, when he throws a mega temper tantrum, starts to take off his jersey, take off his shoulder pads, take off his gloves, throw equipment into the stands, leave the field, leave his team, then go outside the stadium and get an Uber, then apparently start posting on social media videos that, oh, I'm cool, I'm fine, I'm all right, I'm driving around New York. And a lot of memes out there, and I guess it's inevitable. You know, there's memes of him, you know, shirtless. It must have been cold. I didn't check the temperature, but it was New York, New Jersey on January 2nd, late in the afternoon. Had to have been cold, but, you know, heat of the moment, I guess, and Antonio Brown was fine. My biggest takeaway here, and I've paid close attention to Antonio Brown over the years, Jeremy, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, not listening to Mike Tomlin, shooting videos in the locker room when Mike Tomlin said, don't do that, you know, going live after the game in the post-game locker room, ultimately being released by the Pittsburgh Steelers, winding up on Hard Knocks. They documented him quite a bit when he was with the then Oakland Raiders. It went very, very bad with Oakland. He winds up, as we know, for a game with the New England Patriots when Tom Brady was there in Brady's final year. Then he makes comments about the owner of the team and winds up blown out after about a week. And then he goes to Tampa Bay and he's had all kinds of issues there. This year, the fake COVID card. Along the way, multiple women accusing him of sexual misconduct or sexual assault, chefs and vendors accusing him of not paying the bills, the money he owed to them, and now this. And what I fear, Jeremy, and obviously Antonio Brown at a minimum is a problem child. At a minimum is a spoiled brat. At a minimum is a narcissist and a troublemaker. And I was listening, a friend of mine and a friend of the show, JT the Brick, I was listening to him on satellite radio driving in, and JT said, I want to remind you this. You add up everything we know about Antonio Brown. He's not a good guy. He's a bad dude. He's not a good teammate. He's not a good person. He's not a good man. But I fear for him, I think it's a CTE issue, Jeremy. You look at so many of these players that after their death, Mike Webster, Hall of Fame center for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who wound up on the street, homeless with dementia. After he died, they examined his brain and he had hardcore, just through the roof CTE issues in his brain. And we now know that CTE is exacerbated by multiple and hard blows to the head. And not even, as I hear myself say that, not even hard blows to the head. I mean, there are people in other sports who get their skull jostled who are having CTE issues. But certainly football makes it more difficult. John Mackey, Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl tight end for the Baltimore Colts, who has since passed away. A post-mortem, and the way you the way you find out if someone has CTE, sadly, given current technology, is after they die, you examine their brain, and medical experts can tell. I just wonder, you look at this behavior of Antonio Brown, it's not normal. He makes very, very bad decisions. He lashes out. He acts out. He is allegedly, I want to say allegedly till it's proven, but doing I won't say assault without evidence, but I'll say accused of sexual misbehavior with women. I have a bad feeling, Jeremy, when it's all said and done, that we're going to find out that Antonio Brown probably had CTE issues, and there may be some brain anomalies that are fueling this very bad behavior.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, it's maybe like you said, just with given everything that he's been in the news for the past entire time he's been in the league. When you throw them all together, you're like, all right, maybe this guy isn't the best dude. But it's really hard not to believe that at the very least, these things aren't exacerbated by his, potential CTE. Obviously, he took a well-known shot to the head a couple of years ago in the playoffs when he was with the Steelers from Vontaze Burfict, I think, that knocked him out from the next game because he was concussed. And it's it's interesting because I think up to a few years ago, we knew about CTE as football fans, but I think we thought of it as something that older players deal with, guys that haven't been in the league for 30 to 40 years, right? 20 even, but it was guys because, older players were dying, guys that were way past their playing years. So that's the brains that were being, studied, I guess. And now, just obviously, as we learn more every single year about it, I think the turning point for me when I kind of realized the situation wasn't what I thought it was when Aaron Hernandez died.
Ooh, yeah.
Because you take away his off the field issues, you just age-wise, he just strictly age-wise could have still been playing, right? When he died. So that's why when he died and they found, I think at that point was one of the worst cases of CTE they had ever found in a person.
Yeah.
And he obviously wasn't very old. He was still in playing age, or at least right at the tail end of that. So that's when I realized, like, oh my God, like how many players in the league right now are dealing with CTE? And when you look at this Antonio Brown situation, it's really hard not to believe it's at least a factor, and it's really sad.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez, I just Googled him. He was born in 1989. He died, I believe, of suicide in 2017. So he was 26 years old. Yeah. No, and the other thing we know about CTE is blows to the brain. In the case of Aaron Hernandez, in all probability, happened in high school and maybe even middle school. And the other thing that medical professionals know is the younger a person is. This is why a lot of parents now don't want their child playing tackle football until high school. We used to have kids playing Pop Warner High School and hitting each other at a very young age, and then going and playing middle school, and a lot of people still do. A lot of parents now and a lot of professional athletes and professional football players who have kids have their kids play flag football or some other form of football that is not traditional tackle until high school. And part of the reason is blows to the head. And because a younger body and a younger skull and a younger brain can be affected more profoundly by blows to the head than an adult. So you've got to we don't know the history of Antonio Brown and what is causing this, but I love that you brought up Aaron Hernandez. That is a classic case in recent history, and we now know that Aaron Hernandez. I mean, he had all sorts of problems and went on to murder a guy. So I just, on a certain level, and I know we live in an era and a culture and a social media climate where we make fun of people and we do memes. And yes, what JT the Brooks said this morning, by all accounts, Antonio Brown is not a good guy, is a bad guy. And but apparently, just from a human standpoint and just from a humanity perspective, I believe, based on his behavior, and that's all I have to go on, that Antonio Brown has major problems. And my guess, and obviously I'm not a healthcare professional, I'm just a guy who pays attention. I just think Antonio Brown has some major, perhaps, brain disorder that should be addressed, and God help him. All right. More coming up. We'll talk about this day in sports history, sports birthdays. We'll dive back into the big picture of the NFL, what we now know, including the Green Bay Packers clinching the number 1 seed throughout the NFC playoffs. That and a whole lot more. Jeremy Kolak making the show go. Shannon Salty Sweeney back from vacation tomorrow. We're with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Travis, and I mean, that's so sad that Antonio Brown has 4 sons and a daughter. They depend on him. Gonna get some more coffee. I had a coughing fit there during that segment. That's no fun. Robert, I see your tweet. Very cool, man.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
That's a cool photo to have too. Yourself on the big jumbotron at AT&T Stadium. All right, I'm going to grab some more coffee and probably some ice.
The freeze warning remains in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Widespread frost is likely. Sunshine this afternoon, a high of 56. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 33. Tomorrow, Tuesday, sunshine, a high of 67. Get more weather throughout the day on News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture.
All right.
From your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at
there's a really good, I forget,
limitations apply.
Was it a 30 for 30? A really good Aaron Hernandez documentary that I saw.
Chris Duel here. It's time to call.
All right, back in a sec.
Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using these highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
Yo, it's Mike Taylor. Have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, I've got great news. There's finally a treatment for ED that does not require pills, injections, or surgery. This is a medical breakthrough. Crestline Medical Clinic provides the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy designed to improve blood flow and reverse ED and restore natural performance in the bedroom. This form of treatment has been studied extensively, and it's proven to be extremely effective in the treatment of ED for all ages. If you want to put a stop to your ED and restore natural spontaneity in the bedroom, this could truly be a game changer. Call Crestside Medical Clinic right now for a special offer that includes a free exam and consultation with a medical doctor, a free blood flow ultrasound, and a special gift that produces instant results in the bedroom. $500 value, all free. Call them at 904-8000, 904-8000. Call Crestside Medical Clinic at 904-8000.
Hello, this is Discover, and we take customer service very seriously. We know that if you have a question or concern about your credit card, that's a serious matter, and you need to talk to a real person about it. So we offer around-the-clock access to seriously talented representatives in the USA. Again, it's a serious endeavor. The only funny thing about it is Bob. If you call us and Bob answers, you're in for a treat. Get 100% US-based customer service and talk to a real person day or night. Discover, exceptionally common sense.
Well, family, this new year is off to a great start. Everybody, how are those New Year's resolutions?
Dear, my resolution is to cut my damaged hair and just start over.
Dad, my resolution is to take better care of my skin. It's so dry. Ew.
Pops, my New Year's resolution is to work out at the gym. Go up and drink a gallon bottle of water every day.
My resolution is to take up skydiving.
Mom, you're 96.
Don't you make me get it.
Family, my resolution is to replace all our appliances that have been destroyed over the years by hard water.
Sounds like your family needs to start the new year off with installing a Connecticut water system and get a head start on all those resolutions.
This guy's making sense.
There's a reason why we say Connecticut is the last water softener you'll ever own. Call us at 656-PURE. I'll even let you try a Connecticut water system for free. We'll change your water, and it'll change your life.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Connecticut, SA.com.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth reports that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
According to TxDOT, on average, one motorcyclist dies every day on Texas roads. Motorcycle accidents can cause severe injuries, from road rash and broken bones to spinal injuries, brain injuries, and death. If you or a loved one were injured in a motorcycle crash, call Thomas J. Henry. Thomas J. Henry handles serious motorcycle accidents and gets serious results for injured clients. To learn more or start your claim today, visit tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Spurs Insider, brought to you
Spurs Insider, Bill Schoening.
There have been tough losses for the Spurs this season, but Saturday night's 117-116 loss at Detroit ranks close to the top. The Spurs once led by 17 and took a 2-point lead into the final seconds before Sadiq Bey hit a well-defended corner three-pointer with 1.9 seconds left for the game winner. Head coach Greg Popovich said the Spurs were too sloppy at times. They turned the ball over on 16 occasions. Spurs now 0-2 in the 7-game road trip. Will play at Toronto Tuesday, 6 o'clock tip on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAL.
Brought to you by.
Did Brian have any new information for you? Okay. We'll keep doing what we're doing. Leo Zambrano, welcome in. Here we come. Tom Petty. Got to go to the chorus. Chris Duel Show without Shannon Salty Sweeney for one more day. She'll be back from vacation tomorrow. Jeremy Kolak rocking the suburbs, playing some Tom Petty there, Running Down a Dream, which, by the way, is the title of the rockumentary about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Running Down a Dream. I highly recommend it. It was on Netflix when I saw it a couple of years ago. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. Maybe you can find it somewhere. It's so good. It's like you got to watch it unless you're a total freak, which I am. But it's like 3 hours and 48 minutes. It's real long, so you got to kind of watch it over 2 nights or something. And just another little life lesson, Jeremy. It was spring of 2017. And I'm a big Tom Petty fan, as is my wife. And Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers had a show in Austin. And, I wanted to go. We looked into tickets. Let's go. Let's go see Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in Austin. That'll be great fun. And I don't know, something came up. There might have been a Spurs game that night. And, I work on the Spurs broadcasts. And at the time, if I really wanted to, I might have been able to get Carl Schoening or something like that to fill in for me. I don't like to do that. I don't, I just, I have the privilege of working on Spurs broadcasts and working with the great Bill Schoening. So if I can walk and answer the bell, I want to do it. So I remember saying to my wife, we'll see Tom Petty the next time he comes through Texas. We'll catch him the next time. And most of you know, Tom Petty, they finished out that 2017 tour, and they finished out the dates in Los Angeles in October of 2017. And I think it was at the Hollywood Bowl was the end of that concert tour. And Tom Petty had I think back problems. So anyway, he was taking pain medication for his back, and just like days after that concert tour, very much like Prince, it was an accidental drug overdose, and we lost Tom Petty. And it's just I've had situations like that over the years where I had when I was at the Air Force Academy many years ago, and you probably won't know this guy, but a long time ago, and he actually had gone to the Air Force Academy at one time. Harry Chapin was a singer-songwriter he sang Cats in the Cradle was maybe his biggest hit. And because he was a former cadet at the Air Force Academy, and I was there as a cadet for a couple of years before I transferred to USC, Harry Chapin every year would come and perform for the cadets. And it was the spring of 1981. And it was a Harry Chapin concert. I had a big exam the next day that I had to study for. So I thought, well, I will see Harry Chapin. I won't see him this time, but I'll see him the next time I get a chance. And Harry Chapin was killed in a car accident in June of 1981. So from now on, Jeremy, when am I going to learn my lesson? Whenever I have a chance to see somebody and I say, oh, I'll see him next time. Maybe there won't be a next time. See them now. The lesson there, don't put off when you can do something and it's enjoyable and it's something you really, really want to do. Maybe you should do it. Maybe you should do it this time and not wait till next time, because there might not be a next time. Hope I'm not bringing you down on our first show of the new year. The death of Tom Petty and the death of Harry Chapin.
Well, I played Tom Petty, so maybe it's my fault.
No,
but I think there's I feel like this happens so I had tickets to see Willie Nelson about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Don't tell me Willie's coming.
Okay. And I had never seen Willie live before.
Good for you, man. 23-year-old, you want to go see Willie Nelson. I like that.
Right? Yeah, then COVID hit, and they weren't going to risk Willie. You know what I
mean?
And I don't blame them. But
yeah.
I was terrified. I remember thinking this. I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna die now. He's gonna die now,"
Oh, no.
because I had tickets to see him and it
Yeah.
didn't work out. So, obviously, that was like a year and a half ago. I'm gonna knock on every wood surface I have in
Knock,
this
knock,
tournament.
knock.
Yeah, and he's still going strong to my knowledge, and I would absolutely love the opportunity to see Willie one day after I was robbed of it. But no, like I said, I understand. We have to keep Willie safe.
Yes.
I understood. It's just it was unfortunate.
And Willie Nelson is a Texas treasure. My goodness. I love that you're a 23-year-old and you appreciate Willie Nelson and you want to go see Willie Nelson. That is so cool. That is tremendous. Good for you, sir. All right. We will talk more Cowboys. This new year has got to get better after that Cowboy. It's amazing. If the Cowboys would have won yesterday, Jeremy, you went to the game. You were there at AT&T Stadium. We'd be feeling good. It's like we got the number 2 seed. We're going to be all right. We're getting ready for the playoffs. Little tune-up next week against Philadelphia. Now they lose. Michael Gallup tears his ACL. He's gone for the season. And we're probably playing the Arizona Cardinals again in 2 weeks in the playoffs. Loser go home. Oh, by the way, before we go to the sports history and sports birthdays, I didn't even mention the poll question this morning has to do with the Dallas Cowboys. Now that we know what we saw yesterday, well, I'll just read what it says. And you can vote at Ticket760 on Twitter. After watching the Cowboys lose yesterday, how do you think they'll fare in the playoffs? A, one and done. B, a home win and then lose. C, NFC title game loss. Or D, a Super Bowl appearance. Jeremy, I will pose the question to you. Will the Cowboys lose their first playoff game? Will they win at home and then lose in the playoffs? Will they go to the NFC championship game and lose? Or will they go to the Super Bowl? You saw them with your own eyes yesterday. What say you?
I think this is an NFC championship game team.
Woo!
Which is not bad. I mean, well, let me put it in the perspective of, like you mentioned, I'm 23 years old and I've never seen my football team reach the NFC championship game. So that wouldn't be bad. Obviously, we would like to get to the big game and then win the Lombardi Trophy eventually, and that would be nice to do this year. But like what you asked, based on what I saw yesterday, and yesterday was that, like you mentioned, we couldn't beat a team with a good quarterback who took care of the ball and knew how to make plays when he needed to make plays. And I think we can definitely beat Arizona in the playoffs. Not that we proved anything yesterday, but you know, I don't know how this team beats a Packers or a Tampa Bay or even a Los Angeles Rams team unless the offense plays better, or I mean more specifically, unless Dak Prescott has a better output. Not that he had a bad game. It's not like he's thrown picks left and right, but he has to have better numbers. He
wasn't elite. Yeah, he wasn't, Aaron Rodgers doesn't make mistakes. Aaron Rodgers isn't inconsistent. Dak, some days, a week ago against Washington, some days Dak is very, very good. Some days Dak is just kind of off. And I heard Colin Cowherd talk about him a couple of weeks ago, and he said, we just have high expectations for Dak. And I've said this over the years. When somebody's a Cowboy and you put that star on their helmet, especially we Cowboy fans automatically upgrade them a certain number of points because they're a Cowboy. Dak Prescott may very well be like a number 10 quarterback in this league, which ain't bad with 32 teams in the league. But you look at Aaron Rodgers and you look at Patrick Mahomes and you look at what Joe Burrow did yesterday. I was paying attention to that Cincinnati game. There were like some 3rd and longs, and Joe Burrow would deliver that ball deep on a dime and pick up the first down. He's in his 2nd year. I think Dak is very good. If you're the number 10 quarterback in the NFL, you're very good. You're in the top 3rd, but I don't know that you're elite. I think there's like a handful of quarterbacks. I think you can count them on one hand who might be elite. And I think it's less than that now that Drew Brees is gone and he was no longer in his prime a year ago when he was still here. But obviously Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, maybe the best there is right now. Tom Brady, because he's Tom Brady. And it might be time to start thinking about adding Joe Burrow to that list before it's all said and done. All right, let's keep this party going. We'll talk more Cowboys and NFL. We'll talk some Spurs coming up as well. But how about some sports birthdays? And this day in sports history. This day in 1920, the Boston Red Sox owner Harry Frazee announces his agreement to sell slugger Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for $125,000 in cash. It was the start of the curse of the Bambino. I believe in sports jinxes, the blue jersey jinx, maybe the whiteout jinx. I believe in sports curses, the Sports Illustrated curse, yes, the Madden curse, and the curse of the Bambino. It would take 84 years before the Boston Red Sox would ever again win the World Series. On this day in 1971, it was the first ever NFC championship game. It was at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, and America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, beat the San Francisco 49ers 17-10. On this day in 1983, Dallas Cowboys running back Tony Dorsett set the NFL record with a 99-yard rushing touchdown on Monday Night Football as the Cowboys beat the Minnesota Vikings 31-27. And finally, on this day in 1993, the greatest comeback in NFL playoff history, Buffalo Bills quarterback, now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich, came in for an injured Jim Kelly and led the Buffalo Bills back from 32 points down to defeat the Houston Oilers 41-38 in a wild card playoff game. We could have had an all Texas Super Bowl, theoretically. Thanks for nothing, Frank Reich. That's your sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1923, Pro Football Hall of Fame head coach Hank Stram led the Kansas City Chiefs to their first ever Super Bowl victory in Super Bowl IV. Hank Stram was born in Chicago, Illinois. He passed away in 2005. Born on the very same day as Hank Stram, NFL owner Bud Adams Jr., a.k.a. Dirtbag, a.k.a. Scum of the Earth. He moved the Houston Oilers to Tennessee. Bud Adams was born in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. You ever heard of Bartlesville, Oklahoma, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Bartlesville, that's where he deserves to be from. Bud Adams left this earth in 2013, not before ripping out the hearts of Oiler fans everywhere. Not that I'm bitter, not that I can't let it go. Born on this day in 1956, Willie T. Ribbs, the first African-American to drive in the Indianapolis 500. He was born in San Jose, California. Born on this day in 1964, one of the best basketball players ever in the women's game, Cheryl Miller. She won Olympic gold in 1984. Pretty good career at USC. Fight on. The sister of Reggie Miller, Cheryl Miller, born on this day in 1964 in Riverside, California. And finally, born on this day in 1981, the man who won the first game ever at AT&T Stadium at quarterback. I was there to witness it. I was not happy. Eli Manning, NFL quarterback, two-time Super Bowl winner, twice beat Brady in the Super Bowl. Eli Manning was born in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1981. Let's see. Let's do some math. He's 40. Eli Manning turns 40 today. He could still be playing at 40, man. Brady's still playing at 44. What's wrong with you, Eli? All right, there you have it. There's your sports birthdays and your sports history.
Speaking of Eli,
Yes.
I was thinking last night, as I was leaving the great Jerry World, AT&T Stadium, I was thinking about how maybe Kyler Murray should be the one who signs his name on the wall in the visitors' locker room instead of we should take down Eli's signature maybe and throw Kyler's up. I think Kyler deserves it at this point.
I wonder, and now he's 2-0 as a pro, and as we know, Kyler Murray, who won yesterday for Arizona, he won there in high school, he won there in college at OU, and now twice he's won as an Arizona Cardinal. He must have signed his name on that wall by now, and if he didn't the first game, he must have yesterday. Or if you're Kyler Murray, do you realize you might be back in 2 weeks and you don't want to jinx it? Do you want to maybe wait till you can win 2 weeks from now in the playoffs?
I just feel like he's very, very comfortable in that building. He's spent a lot of time on that turf.
And you brought this point up earlier. If he didn't beat the Cowboys, he's such a great player, and he's from Texas, just like Patrick Mahomes is. And I remember watching him earlier this year, and just he's phenomenal. He does things out there that Mahomes doesn't do. He's so elusive and so talented and so athletic and so much fun to watch. Nobody's doing things at quarterback on a football field that Kyler Murray is doing. All right.
No, he's so fast. Just the way he trots is incredible to me. Nobody else runs like him.
Yeah.
Nobody else moves their legs in the way that he does. I don't know how he learned to do that.
Which makes me wonder. I mean, he's still young as a quarterback in the NFL. How long can you play that? I mean, one big hit, and he's small. I mean, defensive linemen are like Mack trucks compared to that guy, or a linebacker. As he ages, he's not going to be able to play like that. And with his height, is he going to be able to be more of a pocket passer? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how long Kyler Murray can keep up that type of play in the National Football League. Little Bruce Springsteen, the boss, as we go to break. Sports update at the top of the hour. Let's talk more Cowboys, NFL playoffs. We got to talk college football playoffs, and now the all SEC National Championship game. We'll get into that, and Spurs as well. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. John Williams, Arizona Cardinals look like the who's who from Texas Tech on that team. Liz Love, welcome in. Chris Gonzalez, welcome in.
Schedule an appointment with one of their tax pros and learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Every small business owner's most important New Year's resolution is to attract more customers. Let a radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder reach the customers that will make 2022 a successful year. iHeartAdBuilder.com is the fast, affordable way to create a customized ad for your business.
The sun is up in San Antonio, and we're up to a balmy 28 degrees. We were down to 25 earlier. 34 in Houston. 28 in Austin. Port Aransas checking in at 39. Fredericksburg, 21. All right, let's see here.
Tackle your worst cold and flu symptoms with Max Strength NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
Find it in the cold and flu aisle at a Walmart near you. You probably wouldn't leave thousands of dollars on the table at a diner. Why leave thousands on the table with your tax return? Jackson Hewitt will help make sure you don't. This year, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help you track down every last one, so you get your biggest refund guaranteed. Don't leave thousands on the table this year. Discover thousands of dollars in tax credits instead. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitrol, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine that little blue pill on steroids. Noxitrol is so powerful. That's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitrol free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitrol dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitrol while supplies last. Call 1-800-231-8913. That's 800-231.
Jason, we've got some technical issues connecting with Austin, and that filler music is kind of used because there's different spots running in Austin and San Antonio. So today, and they're working on this, today we're not in Austin. Austin's running network programming. So that's why things are a little bit different today. Yeah, if you got it, I forgot to send it to you. But yeah, just hit it at the chorus. Nice, thank you. I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you remembered.
Led at halftime, but didn't score after that during a 23-7 loss on the road to the San Francisco 49ers yesterday. Davis Mills threw for just 163 yards with a touchdown and an interception for Houston. After the loss, head coach David Coley was asked, how tough is it to win 2 games in a row, but to not put up much of a fight this game?
Well, the second half, John, I mean, we did some of the things that we've been doing earlier to lose ball games. We didn't protect the ball. We weren't able to stay consistent on offense, and we gave up some big plays on defense that we hadn't been giving up. And those things have been Achilles' heel all year long. I just got to look at the video just to make sure, but it looks like we had some missed assignments there on a couple of their big plays. But other than that, those have been the things that have got us all year long.
The Texans fall to 4-12 on the season and will finish the year at home against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. I'm Peyton Russell with your Houston Texans report.
The hunting world is coming to Dallas for the Dallas Safari Club's Convention and Sporting Expo, celebrating 40 years, and will be held at the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center this Thursday through Sunday. Dallas Safari Club brings the hunting world to you. This incredible convention will feature over 1,800 exhibits to help you plan and equip your next adventure. Don't miss it. Mark your calendar this Thursday through Sunday at the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center. For more information and to reserve your tickets, visit biggame.org. That's biggame.org.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Texas Army National Guard, aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Good morning, everyone. Taking a look here at my maps over on the west side. We do have a little bit of road work here late. On Highway 151, and headed eastbound right at 10. A trouble spot here on 281. 3 left lanes there are blocked. If you're headed northbound right at Hilton, traffic is slow, about 30 minutes. Give yourself additional drive time headed that way. Now, if you see any traffic problems, call 210-785-2601. I'm Nicole Rodriguez, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Looking to save money this year? Look at Allstate. You can get the protection you need.
Yeah, Dean, and from what I understand, Derrick Henry might be back for the playoffs for the Tennessee Titans, which would be incredible for them. If he can come back and be effective, my God. And then they get if they hold on to that number 1 seed and not have to play in the first round. That's pretty big, man.
Don't trust your case to just anyone. Call me for a free consultation.
Principal Place of Office, San Antonio.
Don't miss out on the
Go Spurs, go. Dave Emilio, absolutely.
I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth reports that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL.
I'm with you on the Go Spurs, go.
Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, Rusty Belden here with Belden's Automotive. On our 50th year of doing business, we're excited to announce our newest location. Same great service, same great family. Belden's Automotive and Diesel Service on Highway 87, 3 miles east of China Grove.
Yo, it's Mike Taylor. Have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, I've got great news. There's finally a treatment for ED that does not require pills, injections, or surgery. This is a medical breakthrough. Crestside Medical Clinic provides the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy designed to improve blood flow and reverse ED and restore natural performance in the bedroom. This form of treatment has been studied extensively, and it's proven to be extremely effective in the treatment of ED for all ages. If you want to put a stop to your ED and restore natural spontaneity in the bedroom, this could truly be a game changer. Call Crestside Medical Clinic right now for a special offer that includes a free exam and consultation with a medical doctor, a free blood flow ultrasound, and a special gift that produces instant results in the bedroom. $500 value, all free. Call them at 904-8000. 904-8000. Call Crestside Medical Clinic at 904-8000.
At Thomas J. Henry Law, we strive to provide the highest level of service in the industry. But don't take our word for it. See what our clients have to say. With more than 2,700 five-star Google reviews, Thomas J. Henry is among the highest-rated attorneys in town. Don't leave your case to chance. Contact Thomas J. Henry today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
If your New Year's resolution includes getting into shape, make step one downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Whether your goal is balancing mind and body or ramping up the intensity to beast mode, we've got the music to get you moving and keep you motivated. With dozens of specially curated workout playlists, from rock pump up to yoga music. Just put your headphones on and tap playlists to get started on reaching your goals. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
Here we go.
This morning at 11 after Dan Patrick. I'll take it 760.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through.
Chris Duel.
Another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my Sunday. It's just another manic Monday.
But it's not just another Manic Monday. It's the first Monday of 2022. I wanted to come in here excited about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, who had the number 2 slot in the NFC, which means if somebody would have knocked off the Green Bay Packers, before the NFC Championship game, it would have been possible for that NFC Championship game to have been in AT&T Stadium. I guess technically it still is, because the Cowboys with the number 4 seed, if seeds 1, 2, and 3 get knocked off before the NFC Championship game, I guess it's conceivable the Cowboys could play a wild card team in the NFC Championship game. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show. Shannon Salty Sweeney, one more day of vacation for Shannon. She'll be back tomorrow. We do have the hardest working man in sports talk radio. Jeremy Kolak is joining us. He was at the game last night at AT&T Stadium. Did you get any concessions? Did you buy a $10 beer? First time I went, and this was like opening night. What was it, 2006? I don't even remember. When Eli Manning beat the Cowboys on opening night. Concessions were incredible. I think beer actually was like $13.50 for a beer. It was something crazy. Did you buy anything at the snack bars at AT&T Stadium yesterday?
Yeah, I went in with an open mind because I knew the prices were going to potentially be a factor at the very least. And so I walk up to this little taco concession stand. It smells very good. They have al pastor.
Woo!
And yeah, stuff like that. I don't know what else they had, but I could really smell the al pastor down the corridor, on the concourse. And I get up there and it's like $16 a plate, and
Wow.
like you said, it's about $13 a beer. So then I stood there and I redevised everything. I called it an audible. I called Omaha, and I walked over to a generic concession stand that did not have the aroma of al pastor cooking throughout the concourse, and I got myself I guess it was a brat. It was a sausage of some sort, a jalapeno and cheese sausage.
Okay.
It was not bad. It was
Good.
not bad, and it was like probably like $7 or $8. So, it wasn't I know, you're gonna spend a couple of extra bucks, unfortunately, there. But
Yeah.
once you start getting up into like the 14s and 15s, 16s for one little plate of like 2 or 3 tacos, that's where I had to draw the line. So I feel like there's cuisine there that is probably really good that I just, I didn't want to spend the extra few bucks for.
Yeah, you're going to spend money if you walk in the door there. Jerry gets you left and right at Jerry World. All right, we did have, we talked last week about the passing of John Madden, and obviously John Madden was memorialized quite a bit throughout the day yesterday in the stadiums and on the broadcasts throughout the games. But there were at least 3 other notable passings over the weekend, and I want to touch on them briefly here, Jeremy, and then we'll move on to some other big stories that happened over the weekend. First one, not necessarily in sports, but I did see some people cited that she was in some sports movies over the years. So you can make a sports tie to her, but she was just a cultural icon. Betty White passed away over the New Year's weekend at the age of 99, darn near 100. She was going to turn 100 years old on January 17th. Now, again, Jeremy, I'm an old guy, so I remember, I've seen Betty White in the Golden Girls and in a lot of TV shows and movies over the years. As a 23-year-old, do you have any frame of reference for actress Betty White?
Yeah, she is such an American icon. I feel like she injects herself into your life if you grew up in this country without you even doing anything for it to happen. She was so out in the open, you know what I mean? You would see her in random places. She would come on like a kids TV show and just be a random character, a guest character for one episode. But I will never forget the last time she hosted SNL. And I'm not a huge SNL person, but I see the big ones. I know when when we have the big episodes, the big time hosts and stuff, I'll tune in if it's necessary. And some of the bits she did and the last time she was on SNL, I thought were phenomenal. And so some of those are And then maybe it was just because, I was young, so, like, I feel like you remember, like, some of the first SNL bits that do make you laugh.
Yeah.
But though, I mean, they were just genius to me, and I will never forget some of those. So that I mean, I'm familiar with her work. Like, she worked so late in her life. She just kept
Amazing.
producing good comedic content.
Yeah. Well, and SNL, as you describe, it's kind of like Dak Prescott. When SNL is on, when it's really, really good, it's earth shaking. It's brilliant. It'll blow your mind. It's so good. And then sometimes SNL bits are like a little lackluster.
Yeah.
And you said this earlier. I want to underscore this. When I say something about Dak that is not, and John Williams bringing up Hot in Cleveland, which is a fun show as well. She was tremendous in Hot in Cleveland as well. Like you said this at the outset of the show. You love Dak Prescott. I love Dak Prescott. What's not to love about Dak Prescott? He's a great guy. He's in the top third, top 10, and maybe around number 10 of quarterbacks in the NFL. You look at his biography, the adversity he's gone through, losing his mom way too early. Last year, a catastrophic year, the horrible ankle injury that could have ended his career in the NFL. He loses his brother to suicide. Here is a man who's been to hell and back and still is able to be a quarterback of a team that's won the NFC East. If I'm going to be honest and look at the whole body of work of Dak Prescott and even just look at this season alone, I see a roller coaster. I see inconsistency. I see very, very, very good some days and other games, not so much. And that's troubling when you're headed into the playoffs.
It's very troubling. And tell me you didn't see him miss some passes yesterday that are warm-up passes. I mean, guys, the passes that he makes in his sleep.
Yeah.
Seems like normally. So, I mean, we're all speculating here. That's what we all do. Maybe there's some injury thing going on. Maybe there's a mental thing going on. Maybe he's just, you know what I mean? Maybe he's just not feeling good right now as a football player. I have no idea, but it's hard to believe something's not going on, even if it's minor, because it's one thing if he's being sacked, if he's running for his life all night, you know what I mean? But he's missing guys that are running 7 or 8 yards down the field and turning like a curl route. That's what they do in warm-ups.
Yeah.
That's how they open up practices.
And so many tipped passes yesterday. And I know Budda Baker is a phenom, and I get it. And Budda Baker kind of is to that Cardinal defense as Kyler Murray is to the offense. But again, I look at the other elite quarterbacks in this league. I look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and I'm now adding Joe Burrow to that list because, my God, he looked phenomenal beating Kansas City yesterday. They're throughout the game, they're much more consistent. Throughout the season, they're much more consistent. And I'm just hoping the Cowboys shock me and shock most of us now and make some noise in the playoffs. I am heartened by the fact that you expect them to go to the NFC Championship game now. I do want to mention the other two major passings over the weekend. Dan Reeves, longtime Dallas Cowboys running back under Tom Landry. If you're an old guy like me, you remember watching Dan Reeves play. And as I brought up earlier in the show, Landry made him a player coach in the 1971 season. He was a player on the field, but he was an assistant coach off the field. And then when Dan Reeves retired from playing, he was a Cowboys assistant from 1974 to 1980, which opened the door for him to be an NFL head coach. Thank you, Tom Landry. For the Broncos, for the Giants, and for the Falcons. He would lead the Broncos and the Falcons to the Super Bowls. He led the Broncos to the Super Bowls twice, never won them. And I heard somebody say yesterday, might have been Joe Buck talking to Troy Aikman about Dan Reeves, and it's true. From an integrity standpoint, Dan Reeves was just a very good man. Born in Americus, Georgia, went to South Carolina, by all reports, everybody who knew Dan Reeves just thought this is a quality man. And I think part of that, Jeremy, he was a protege of Tom Landry. He came up under Tom Landry, and his demeanor, Dan Reeves was very stoic like Tom Landry. Dan Reeves, I think, his persona was reminiscent of Tom Landry, I think. And it's we're still mourning the passage of not only Betty White, but John Madden in the NFL. So I think maybe Dan Reeves and the other passing I'll mention, had there not been these mega superstars passing, John Madden and Betty White, there might be a little more attention paid to Dan Reeves. But I just want to mention him. He was a great player for the Cowboys, and wound up being a very, very, very good head coach in the NFL.
How many Super Bowls was he involved in?
Oh my God.
I mean, he's got to be up there.
Yeah.
More than,
well, as a Cowboy, he was there in Super Bowl V, and they lost. He was in the Ice Bowl. He threw a touchdown pass in the Ice Bowl on a halfback option to Lance Rensel, by the way, against the Green Bay Packers. But he was in Super Bowl V. They lost. He was in Super Bowl VI as a player. They won. He was an assistant coach for the Cowboys. Super Bowl 12, they win that one. Super Bowl 10, he was an assistant coach for the Cowboys. They lose to the Steelers. So 5 Super Bowls as a Cowboy. Then he leads the Broncos to 2, and he leads the Atlanta Falcons to another one. That's at least 8 off the top of my head.
I got 9 off of
9.
the Google device.
Boom. Google's more reliable than my memory.
Or third most for an individual all time.
He was tremendous. And a very good guy. Want to also mention another passing over the weekend. Basketball Hall of Famer Sam Jones, who, get this, and granted, it was the Celtics in the heyday of the Celtics and Bill Russell. He won 10 NBA championships with the Boston Celtics. Now, I don't want to poo-poo those at all, and I'm not, but that was in an era in the 1960s when there were like 8 teams in the NBA, and the Celtics had all the good players. Again, not to take anything away from Bill Russell or John Havlicek or Red Auerbach, who coached all those teams, but Sam Jones, who played his college basketball at North Carolina Central. He died at the age of 88. He was born in 1933. He was a shooting guard. He was the 8th overall pick in the 1956, 1957 NBA draft. But Sam Jones, 10 NBA championships, a 5-time NBA All-Star. He was on the 25th anniversary team. He was on the 50th anniversary team, and he made the 75th just recently, the all 75th. So he's the top 75 players in NBA history. So that is very, very notable, the passing of Sam Jones. Now, something else happened over the weekend, Mr. Jeremy Kolak, and apparently Becky Hammon did not take your advice. You, sir, on this program last week offered Becky Hammon free advice. We invited her to call you during one of the breaks because we didn't want to interrupt the show or anything. But apparently Becky Hammon either was not listening to the show, or, Jeremy, she was listening and specifically defied your advice. You advised Becky Hammon, do not take a WNBA job just now. You'd be better off just staying in San Antonio. You're on a trajectory to be an NBA head coach. Becky Hammon, over the weekend, it is made official on New Year's Eve, in fact, Friday night. The Las Vegas Aces make it official. A 5-year, apparently very lucrative contract. Becky Hammon, at the end of this Spurs season, she will serve out her time as a Spurs assistant coach, will become the head coach of what used to be the San Antonio Stars and Silver Stars, the Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA. How do you feel, Jeremy, that Becky Hammon totally blew off your advice?
Well, I think as a San Antonian, a lot of us selfishly wanted her to just stick around so that she could be the coach in waiting of sorts, so that she could be the next coach of the Spurs. ideally to take over once Pop decides that he's done and rides off into the sunset. I think that was from a selfish perspective, we really wanted that as San Antonians because she was ours, you know what I mean? She's been here so long, and, like, and you mentioned the Stars and the Silver Stars, she was the superstar of the Silver Stars. She was the Tim Duncan equivalent to our WNBA team when, when they were kind of
Yeah.
in their heyday down here before they moved up to Las Vegas. So she she feels like a San Antonian. She feels like one of us, and for that reason, I think we just selfishly really, really wanted her to just wait around for however long it took. But the problem is we don't know how long that was going to take. Obviously, it hasn't happened yet, and Becky probably has more information on that than any of us ever will. So who knows how long she would have been waiting around in that scenario, or if that even is realistic. Like, I mean, who knows if she was even going to be the next head coach, even if she stayed as an assistant. So obviously, from a selfish perspective, as a San Antonian to what I would consider a fellow San Antonian, it's sad to see her go, and I would have liked to see her get an NBA gig selfishly too, just so she could be the first woman to coach an NBA team from the head coaching position as, the permanent head coach, rather than an interim role. And so just from two selfish perspectives, I wanted her to be that person. I wanted her because if she had taken over the Spurs, she would have killed two birds with one stone there. She would have done both of those things and been an incredible trailblazer towards women in sports and women involvement. Not that she hasn't already been. But apart from that, I am happy for her. I'm sure we all should be happy for her. Like you said, I believe she's about to get paid very, very well, which is very well deserved because she's put in a lot of work. And yeah, I'm certainly proud of her, but hate to see her go. And I'm sure a lot of people down here feel the same way.
Now, a couple of things, and Jason Paniagua on the live video feed pointing out, and it's true, it is the richest deal in WNBA history. She will become the highest paid coach in WNBA history. So a couple of things occur to me, Jeremy. Number one, when Boban Marjanovic got an offer, he was with the Spurs his rookie year, got an offer from the Detroit Pistons, and he didn't want to take it because he loved the Spurs, he loved Pop, he loved the city and the fans. Pop said to Boban, go get paid. At the time, the Spurs could have offered Boban about $5 million. Detroit was offering about $13 million to Boban. Pop said to Boban, hey, go get paid. I am sure Pop said to Becky, go get paid. I don't think this precludes Becky Hammon being the heir apparent to Greg Popovich. Think about this. And you made a great point. You just said Becky probably knows more about how long Pop is going to stick around than we do, obviously. But it's a point that I don't think Spurs fans are thinking through. But think about this. If Pop was going to stick around 2 more years, which would be better for Becky Hammon? Stay here as an assistant for 2 years or go to the Las Vegas Aces and make millions of dollars as their head coach for the next 2 years? I would assume, Jeremy, that in her contract negotiation, just like a college coach, I'll bet you either there's a buyout or there's an opt-out that says, hey, if I get a head coaching offer in the NBA, I get out of this contract. I would think, given Becky's ambitions, given her trajectory, if I'm her agent and I'm negotiating that contract with the Las Vegas Aces, I make that part of the contract. She'll be here for 5 years. It's all good. However, here's a little clause. If she's offered a head coaching gig in the NBA, she has the right to go get it. And if she does, either that team or maybe Becky pays back this much money from her contract. However they work that out. I really believe, because I heard Spurs fans all weekend say, well, now we know she won't be the next head coach of the Spurs. Really? I don't think we know that. I think, for one, we know Greg Popovich, and Greg Popovich wants his people to go get paid if someone's out there offering them a boatload of money. The Las Vegas Aces offered Becky Hammon a boatload of money. And think about this. This is one of the reasons governors tend to get elected as president more than congressmen in America, because they've had CEO experience. They've run a government. They've run a state government. It might even benefit the Spurs if they were to hire her 2 years from now, for her to have been a head coach in the WNBA for 2 years. She's got all of her Greg Popovich assistant coach corporate knowledge. And it would also, Jeremy, it would hedge your bets. Even if it were a chance that she becomes the next Spurs head coach someday, but it doesn't happen, then boom, she's John Madden. Every time I say boom now, I think of John Madden. Then she, she's now the highest paid coach in the WNBA, and they're a pretty good team. She might lead them to a couple of championships in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I was thinking too, from the perspective of whether she will coach the Spurs eventually or not. This is tremendous opportunity for her to gain experience and to have the reins herself, to be steering the ship. And I think that experience is kind of priceless in this profession. Obviously, I'm not a coach, and I can't speak to like what she could improve on in her craft, right? But she's still a young coach, so I think this is an invaluable experience for her. And even if she doesn't come coach the Spurs at some point, I think I would be very surprised to not see her back on an NBA sideline at some point, even if it's not relatively soon. I think now that just her name's kind of in the coaching circles, I think we'll see her coaching NBA team someday, if I had to bet on it.
I do too. And if I had to bet on it, I would bet the team most likely would be the San Antonio Spurs. Becky Hammond, by the way, is 44 years old, born March 11th, 1977. So yeah, I mean, she could theoretically spend 10 years in the WNBA and become an NBA head coach at a relatively young 54. All right, quick break. Let's talk more NFL football. Let's look at the overall playoff picture. We now know that the Green Bay Packers have the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. What does that mean? We now know that the Philadelphia Eagles are in the NFC playoffs. We'll take a look at the AFC as well. Tennessee Titans. Who'd have thunk they'd get the number 1 seed? They currently have it. And don't look now, but if they get that 1 week bye by being the number 1 seed in the AFC, Derrick Henry could be available for the playoffs. Wow. That could be a big, big development in the AFC. We'll talk about all of that and more. Jeremy Kolak making the show go. Shannon Salty Sweeney will be back from vacation tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Yvonne Yancey McGowan, welcome in. Beth Settle, welcome. Manuel Gonzalez, welcome. Yeah, Manuel's got to work. Yeah, a lot of people have today off. If you've got today off, lucky you. Oh, we are off today. All right, I will be back in a sec. Jeremy's mom, look at that. Jeremy's mom is in the house. Hello, Jeremy's mom. Jeremy's mom, you raised him well. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's very talented. And he's got a great sense of music. So I got to assume that came from you. Very cool. He is a tremendous guy to work with. Very talented. And you should be very proud of my kid. You should be. I really enjoy working with him. He's very, very good at what he does. All right, I'll be back in a sec.
Download the DraftKings app and use code SPORTS to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week
with your first deposit.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and three-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body can speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmett's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Start now with a free consultation at QC Kinetics. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Call today. 571-0318.
That's a Roadrunner winner! The Roadrunners, the Conference USA champions!
UTSA football season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss any of the excitement. Call 458-UTSA or visit GoUTSA.com. Birds up.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
According to TxDOT, on average, one motorcyclist dies every day on Texas roads. Motorcycle accidents can cause severe
All right.
from road rash and broken bones to spinal injuries, brain injuries, and death. If you or a loved one were injured in a motorcycle crash, call Thomas J. Henry. Thomas J. Henry handles serious motorcycle accidents and gets serious results.
Yeah, John, I did mention that. That is correct. Dan Reeves did throw a halfback option to Lance Rensel in the Ice Bowl.
Are you tired of living in constant pain? Hi, I'm Jason Garrett from Rusty.
Yeah, and Gail, this morning we had all kinds of technical problems that Jeremy had to deal with that nobody knows about off the air. So he handles curveballs very, very easily. Look at this. Louisa says Jeremy should be the permanent soundscape stylist for the show. He's great. He is very, very talented. Enjoy. And I can't believe he's here after traveling to Dallas yesterday and last night to see the Cowboys game. He's doing all sorts of double duty the last several weeks as well. You know, when I do a double, when I do this show and a Spurs game, especially the morning after when I have to wake up at 3:00 to be here for the show the next morning after a Spurs game, I'm wiped out. And part of that is I'm old. If you're younger, maybe you can handle it better, but he handles it quite well. Let's see what I got here. Whoa. John Williams sending me, it is Doug McDermott's birthday. Is that right? Did I miss that? You are correct. When we come back, I'm going to, John Williams just told me it's Doug McDermott's birthday. I missed it. So we'll come back and then I'm going to do a bonus sports birthdays and have you hit Birthday by the Beatles. So, okay, cool. Thanks. John Williams, you get a producer credit this morning. Wow, Gail. Look at that. I may or may not have bought him a Southwest ticket so he could be back on the air this morning. Why, we give you the producer credit. Without him, we're not on the air this morning. Yeah, when I heard he flew back, Here's Bill Schoening.
The Spurs this season, but Saturday night's 117-116 loss at Detroit ranks close to the top. The Spurs once led by 17 and took a 2-point lead into the final seconds before Sadiq Bey hit a well-defended corner three-pointer with 1.9 seconds left for the game winner. Head coach Greg Popovich said the Spurs were too sloppy at times. They turned the ball over on 16 occasions. Spurs now 0-2 on the 7-game road trip. Will play at Toronto Tuesday. 6 o'clock tip on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAL.
Brought to you by.
Speaking of which, I've got to check one more birthday. Hey, it's Becky Hammond on a commercial.
Without the label.
It's not about where others say you should be. It's about where you want to go.
Yep. Craig Popovich. His birthday is January 28th. This month, he will turn 73.
Visit swbc.com.
All right, John Williams, you get a major. Here we come. Gail, we're going to mention on the radio that you're on. You're on with us. Here we go. Welcome back. Chris Duel Show.
I'll get back my blue jeans. Lord, how happy could one man be?
Such a classic.
I'll get back my blue jeans. Look, how happy could one man be?
Little blue jean blues for you. Chris Duel Show. Shannon Salty Sweeney. She'll be back tomorrow. The man playing the music, Jeremy Kolak. Jeremy, one of the amazing things about technology in 2022, when I first got into radio, we've had this discussion. You know, I'd be on the radio in San Antonio and somebody would call in from New Braunfels and I'd get excited. Whoa, they're listening to us in New Braunfels. You know, now we've got people on the internet from around the world. Taro Kotani from Tokyo, Ophalin from Singapore. Brad George joins us from Australia. Christopher Smith has been joining us from Nairobi, Kenya recently. But one of the other things that technology does in 2022, you can be on the radio, Jeremy, and your mom can see you at work. Your mom has joined us on the live video feed. Not every job, not many people work a job where your mom can stream and see what you're doing at work. Is that a little weird for you, Jeremy?
Maybe not normal, but not well, whatever. What am I gonna do? It's
exactly.
I don't mind the eyes on me. So
yeah, well,
their eyes, it's all right.
Well, I was saying during the break, I was telling you, and then you play Blue Jean Blues, which totally rocks. I was saying to your mom on the live video feed, I mean, you've got you're 23 years old. I'm blown away by your sense of music, by artists who were making this music decades and decades before you were born. Is your mom hip to music? Did you get the musical chops from your mom?
Yeah, I don't, both of my parents when I was little played. I grew up the early years of my life in Memphis. So that was kind of it. Like when I was first hearing music, I pretty much only heard blues and early rockabilly, rock and roll, you know, the early 1950s rock and roll that kind of morphed into real rock and whatnot. You know what I mean? So that's the only music I heard for the first probably few years of my life. And I guess
it's not a bad way to grow up to music.
Yeah, no. And I remember there was one year where it was the 50th anniversary of the invention of rock and roll in Memphis. And it was, I don't know if it was like 2001 or 2002, but we were there and I was very little. And it was my whole family's up in here
Yeah,
commenting.
now we have an
Yeah.
Aunt Jill
Wow.
saying he gets it from his aunt.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
But yeah, so I remember, and it was this huge, I mean, this blues festival, rock and roll, and Justin Timberlake was there because he's from Memphis. If you didn't know, he's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like Elvis was
And Shannon's a
Memphis's
Timberlake freak.
Yeah, Elvis was Memphis's original son, and now Justin Timberlake's like the grandson, I guess. So there's always going to be a male musical talent that comes out of Memphis for some reason that kind of on top of the music world for a little while.
Yeah, but
It's just a weird thing.
and nobody like Elvis. And your mom says early cool Elvis, not fat drugged out Elvis. See, I do like early cool Elvis. He did a thing called the 68 comeback special, which was on TV, which to me was the height of Elvis. He's in like this all black leather suit outfit, leather jacket, leather pants, and he's like, Elvis is like in the best shape of his life, and it's 1968, and he's doing the 68 comeback special, and it's in the round, and it's spectacular. But I love Elvis. I even like fat jumpsuit 1977 Elvis.
I do too, because I think 70s Elvis, I mean, obviously a whole different Elvis, but
Yeah.
70 Elvis immersed himself in the 70s.
Yes.
So I like that version as well.
And there are music people who say Suspicious Minds, which was done in the 70s, from a production standpoint, it's like the best produced Elvis song because they went into the studio. It's got the horns, it's got everything. So I'm a big Elvis fan, but one of the things I love about our live video feed is a lot of our viewers / listeners act as producers of the show. If we get something wrong, and most of the time it's me getting something wrong or missing something, that information is often provided by our listeners. And John Williams, who is joining us from Dallas this morning, pointed out that on our sports birthdays this morning, I missed a key birthday. Jeremy, can we have some birthday music one more time? Thank you, Beatles. Thank you, John. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, George. Thank you, Ringo. Thank you, Billy Preston, the fifth Beatle. If you haven't seen the Beatles documentary, get back. Billy Preston rocks. What is wrong with me? There's a lot of things wrong with me. Today, we did all the sports birthdays. Hank Stram, Bud Adams, Bobby Hull, Willie T. Ribbs, Jim Everett, Cheryl Miller, Eli Manning. I missed a San Antonio Spur. Born on this day in Grand Forks, North Dakota, 30 years ago today, was a little baby boy named Douglas Richard McDermott. He would grow up to be Dougie McBuckets. Now a San Antonio Spur, Doug McDermott. It's his birthday. He went to college at Creighton, played for his dad, was drafted 11th overall, the first round pick in 2014. Happy birthday, San Antonio Spur. Currently on the health and safety protocol list, Doug McDermott.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah. So I hope he's doing okay. Spurs got hit pretty big by health and safety protocols over the weekend. Doug McDermott went on the list. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, went on the list. Devontae Kaycock, two-way player, G League, but plays for the Spurs, on the list. And DeJounte Murray came off the health and safety protocol list, but he wasn't ready to play in Detroit yet. He's got to work himself back in. So Spurs will hopefully get it together.
DeJounte's cleared, you said, right?
He's
it's
cleared,
just like
but
conditioning and whatnot.
What I heard, he needed conditioning.
Right. Okay,
So,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
And my goodness, they do need him back because the Spurs, I think they've lost 3 in a row now. They certainly lost 2, New Year's Eve and New Year's night, and they're at Toronto to play the Raptors tomorrow night. Raptors 16-17 overall. They're 9-10 at home, which gives, they're not world beaters at home. They're sub 500 at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, 9-10 at home. And they're Spurs are 7-11 on the road. Spurs are now 14-21 overall. I was thinking about this, Jeremy. Last year, Canada, with the big COVID outbreak, did not allow NBA teams or Major League Baseball teams to travel into Canada. Currently, they're doing that, but with this Omicron spike, I just wonder how much longer, and the Spurs are due to play in Toronto tomorrow night, if Canada might revert and change its rules again due to COVID, because they were hardcore last year and last season on the COVID thing, and the Raptors had to play their games in Tampa last season, but currently they're playing home games in Toronto. We'll see how that lasts, and we'll hope DeJounte's back. Say again?
They have fans, I assume, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. I haven't caught many Raptors games this year.
No, it looks like we're going to catch one
tomorrow
night
Yep.
if all goes. And I don't know what the status of DeJounte Murray might be for tomorrow night, but it would be nice if the Spurs got him back. So overall, NFL, I know we just got a few minutes left here before we're done for the morning, but two of the big developments yesterday, the Green Bay Packers locked up the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. I think it's going to be hard, Jeremy, for anybody to go to Lambeau and win, but if the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is going to go through Lambeau. Last year, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers obviously found a way to do that. But I think what's big with Cincinnati beating Kansas City yesterday and with the Tennessee Titans winning their game yesterday, for the moment and now controlling their own destiny going into next week, the Titans right now the number 1 seed in the AFC. When they lost Derrick Henry several weeks ago to injury, most people, myself included, thought that's it. Derrick Henry is the Tennessee Titans offense. They've managed to stick around and win. They're 11-5. And what I'm hearing now, Jeremy, Derrick Henry may be ready for the playoffs. If Tennessee holds on to that number 1 seed in the AFC and gets that bye and gets an additional week to get Derrick Henry healthy, and they guarantee all home games or all playoff games would be at home in Nashville, my goodness, that's a big development in the AFC playoffs.
Yeah, what a coaching job that Matt Vrabel has done for the Titans. And I was like, well, like the people you mentioned where I wrote them off when Derrick Henry got hurt, but they are really, really good. And they're good in all phases of the game. And I mean, and obviously you look at Tannehill and he's not Aaron Rodgers, but he's been playing well enough, not just this year, but even like last year when they made their little run. And what a coaching job, and just what a performance by the Titans to get that 1 seed for now. And I believe it's not locked in yet, is it? I mean, things still could happen.
They are 11-5,
Right,
and the Chiefs are 11-5. And let me see.
Just to be in that position is incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, if they win, let me check out Tennessee's opponent for next week. And of course, as soon as I do that, my computer moves about as slow as molasses.
That's how things work around
So
here.
so if they can win next week, I'm looking for Titans. I'm looking. Texans. Texans can be spoilers. The Houston Texans will host the Tennessee Titans at noon at NRG Stadium next Sunday. Now, let me see where the Chiefs. At the Broncos on Saturday. So wow, we got 2 Saturday games. And that is Chiefs at the Broncos, and then Saturday night, Cowboys at Eagles. So Chiefs should beat the Broncos. I would expect that. And then we've got the Titans probably beat the Texans, as much as I like the Texans. And Mark Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans, friend of the show. Jeremy Kolak, working double duty again today. You're working UTSA basketball later today. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Later tonight. It wasn't supposed to happen today, but it was a game that got postponed. So I understand. We got to play the game.
Are you back with us tomorrow?
I don't know.
You never know.
I don't want to lie to you. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so.
I do hear that Shannon Salty Sweeney will be back from vacation tomorrow. Jeremy, you did a great job as always, sir, on little sleep and coming off a Cowboys road trip. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Get a nap.
That's the plan.
Get a little rest. I'm a big fan of naps. Thanks to everybody else. Have yourself a great first Monday of 2022. We will see you tomorrow bright and early at 6 a.m. Have yourself a great Monday. Adios, amigos. Axel, Fred, aunt and mom of Jeremy, Jill, Gail, Dave, Emilio, Fred, anybody who's in here right now, 15 of you, adios. We'll do this again tomorrow at 6 a.m. Thank you, Louisa. Thank you very much. Great job by Jeremy as always. Gail and Aunt Jill, you raised him well. He's a very, very good man. All right. Until next time. See one more comment. Thank you. Gail, the check is in the mail. Thank you. Happy New Year, Jill. Thank you, Jason. Have a good Monday. Be safe.